Coming up on Rick Dancer TV this month, ghost towns. We're going to take you to some ghost towns in Oregon that you may not think of as ghost towns. We're also going to show you some exercise tips to get you in shape. On another show, we're going to take you back to the Thurston High School shooting. It's been 20 years since that happened. And we're going to take you to Reach the Beach, a bike ride to help people with lung disease. That's all coming up this month on Rick Dancer Television. I'm not dead. That sounds like something interesting. You drive through them on your way to someplace else. Spots on the side of the road. There might be a sign or a building, perhaps something to raise your curiosity for just a brief moment. But not enough to cause you to over and ask a few questions. In some cases, it's nothing more than an old dumpy building. But what would happen if on one of those journeys you did turn on your signal, pull over, and knock on a few doors? What would happen if you stopped by the symbol, read the names, and asked one or two questions of the first person who came by? That's what we're going to do tonight. So sit back and enjoy the trip. They came from Ireland, France, and places in between. The early settlers of Scottsburg, Oregon. Silent now. Their history left behind on tombstones, in old pictures, and in stories revisited by those who still live here.
She liked it here, peaceful. So.
This was raised in Scottsburg.
There's a lot of them there that I'd have to look. A lot of the old timers were there. We had some characters that I guess every town does.
At one time, Scottsburg was a place where miners gathered supplies to head south to look for gold near Roseburg and beyond.
They run mule trains and pack trains from here to Roseburg. This was back in the 1800s, of course.
It was an shipping port.
It used to be the head of navigation, and sailing ships would come up there, and that's as far as up the river as they could get.
On this day, when we ran into Pat, his visit was not about Scottsburg or its history.
It was home, and it's, like I say, my mother and father, I got brothers, sisters, all buried here.
As he carried the remains of his wife with him, this day was about his history, a period that had ended for him.
You want to get the history on Scottsburg, talk to Henry Freer. He lives right there in town. He's the unofficial mayor.
We'll come back to a little later. We found the mayor in what's left of Scottsburg, just down the road a bit. The way Henry Freer tells it, his great-grandfather's brother walked to Scottsburg from San Francisco over 100 years ago. How long has your family been here?
Oh, since 1851.
So you are Scottsburg?
Yeah, kind of.
Scottsburg was named after a businessman named Levi Scott. Scott owned the Mercantile. There used to be an upper, middle, and lower Scottsburg. The town was a center of commerce from the coast for those going south into California. This was the last stop for ship traffic. Two floods in 1861 wiped out the lower and middle sections of Scottsburg. The highway came in, everything changed. Instead of stopping, cargo just bypassed Scottsburg. Now dozens of families live in the hills and backcountry surrounding the area. Just a few, like Mayor Henry, live in town.
Everybody does their own thing around here.
So what keeps people here?
The way I had it figured is A guy just will stay here. There's always work to be done around the local area. Why run all over the state? That's what they want you to do, and I won't do it.
Rugged individualists.
I kind of like everything the way it used to be, and I don't like the modern day stuff.
A place where the old ways work just fine. How is it decided who becomes mayor in Scottsburg?
Well, it just happens.
What do you mean it just happens?
Well, they start calling you mayor, and it just goes from there.
A place where personal freedom outranks everything.
I can kind of do what I want. I don't have to answer to anybody, more or less. I'm a freer, and I'm free right here.
A place where anyone can be mayor.
And I don't know, I ain't gonna be around for it.
Scottsburg, Oregon. A place people like Pat Thomas come back to forever. What's her name?
Barbara,
How long were you married?
almost 52 years.
Can I ask you something?
Sure.
What are you going to miss the most about her?
Just miss everything about her, really.
You live there, you meet your neighbors, you know, you're part of your kids' school or the university or some sort of nonprofit organization, something in our community we all have ties to. Real estate broker, it's super important for me to know about all that stuff just so I can help my clients and give back to our community and know that we're here and we want to support everyone. Meeting new people and talking to them, I love asking questions and learning more about who they are. Being in touch with the different schools and knowing what different programs are offered, different high schools and what they offer for their students and the culture that's involved in those as well, because it's different from school to school. I would say a realtor is someone who really wants to help people, are educated, they research, they know the market, they're constantly updating themselves, trying to learn and be better so they can help people. They do care about the community.
Credibility is huge. I mean, you put the facts together and you tell the story, the complete picture, then that builds your credibility. Trust is key, because if they don't trust what it is that you're doing every single week, then they're not going to subscribe the paper, they're not going to buy the paper, they're going to look for other sources to find the news that they want.
So I'm walking about with a backpack and a sack full of jack. I'm trying to catch a train headed out west. Whoa, and you know I'm so high, so high. I'm looking for a man who promises sweet deals and cheap thrills. So I jump up on my train and I sit down when I own. 'Cause you know I can get used to my new home, babe.
The next coast town we're going to visit is called Bay Ocean. It's not far from Tillamook. In fact, right now we're standing in what could have been the downtown area. There was a post office, grocery stores, a big indoor wave pool, hundreds of homes. It was going to be the Atlantic City of the West Coast. And this is what's left. In 1906, a real estate broker from Kansas City forgot that he wasn't in Kansas anymore. He understood the realtor's code that it's all about location, 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 but failed to fully grasp the power of the Pacific Ocean. A sign that leads to the peninsula where Bay Ocean used to sit tells the story.
City of Bay Ocean Park. 1906, T.B. Potter, real estate broker from Kansas City, dreamed of this peninsula being a second Atlantic city.
Jim Bennett is our guide. He lived at Bay Ocean when he was a kid. Okay, so it came out here and then it got big, and that's where Bay Ocean was.
Yeah, that's where the town was.
Okay. This is a sketch of what Bay Ocean was going to look like. plots for homes, businesses, a resort, and places to play.
By 1914, 600 building lots were been sold.
Bay Ocean had its own that would bring visitors from Portland for a weekend of fun.
Consisted of a general store, post office, a 3-story hotel, bowling alley, tin shop, and bakery. The hotel had automatic fire sprinklers. There was an auditorium with a pool 50 by 160 feet.
This was the place to be until something unspeakable, unbelievable, and unbearable began to happen.
All this was Bay Ocean. There's nothing.
Not a piece of concrete, not a water pipe, not a brick, nothing. Mother Nature reclaimed her sand spit. So what went wrong in Bay Ocean?
They built the north jetty and it was fine, but they needed a south jetty to protect the ocean-going vessels and logs and stuff like that. But with just a north jetty, it created the currents to be different.
The community lost it. The change in ocean current became a nightmare. The ocean literally washed Bay Ocean into the sea. Developers went broke, investors lost everything.
Over 20 homes had fallen in the sea by 1949.
Some tried to save their homes.
Of 59 homes and summer cottages, only 5 were moved in time.
You can find them nearby at Cape Mears, survivors of a disastrous dream, dashed by misfortune, bad planning, and an ocean that does what she wants.
Francis B. Mitchell bought the first lot in 1907. He was the last to leave in 1952.
Old-timers say in the end, Mitchell was so distraught, he would carry wheelbarrow after wheelbarrow of sand to the ocean, trying to save the sand spit and his investments.
On February 15, 1960, the last house washed into the sea, and the city of Bay Ocean was but a dream.
The hottest thing in social media right now is live, and we are doing it like nobody else does. I invite you to join us on my Rick Dancer TV Facebook page. You can follow it or ask to friend it. And usually every day we're doing something live in the community to tell you something new and different that's going on in the community. So, and we don't do news stuff. We're not doing anything bad. We don't do junk. We do good stories. We do stories that are positive, things that are going to affect you, things that are going to make you think. I really hope that if you are on social media that you'll join us over on Rick Dancer TV, usually weekdays around noon, but like I say, we are so busy, we are on anytime, so just hit the button on there that says notify you and we'll be there. So thanks again for watching Rick Dancer TV, and join us over on Get Real with Rick Dancer.
What I will tell you, about our food is that we prepare everything from scratch. So we make sure we hire people that have the passion for making food. That's one of the ingredients. The other one, we make sure that our recipes, they use the ingredients that we tell them to use. And before we put it into the market, we make sure we test, try it. What I love about this business is the people. I'm a people person, so I love to interact with people.
Every month, Ranchito Grill teams up with Rick Dancer TV to give away 2 free dinners to some lucky winner. All you got to do is go into Ranchito Grill, have dinner, fill out your name, your phone number. We'll draw once a month and call you and let you know right here on the show if you are the winner. Every day, thousands of bike riders in Oregon gather together to go do Reach the Beach. Reach the Beach is a bike ride to help lung cancer, lung diseases, all sorts of lung ailments. It goes to the Lung Association. My wife and I have done this for many, many years. Last year we went on a ride and we had 3 people in mind. 2 of them had already passed away from lung disease. The third one was still alive. And this last year, Julia passed away. So in memory of Julia and the rest of our team, we look back at Reach the Beach and show you what this is really all about. Here's one of the little secrets of the biking community to keep yourself from chafing down there in those hard to reach areas. Butter. You take this, you slather your crack and your front. Riding, I got into it because of Kathy, and it was something we could do together. Okay, so this is the first stop. This is Newburgh. This is where we begin. And there's thousands of riders here, and we're just 2 of them. But look, we did get our shirts because Corey raised so dang much money that we ended up getting a shirt too. Thank you, Corey. And so we're gonna start from here and get our bikes out and head to Pacific City. That's how it works. I do enjoy all the people, and so the way I kind of ride is I write stories in my head like this. I do this kind of thing, and so that's how I've kind of gotten into biking, is by doing it as a blog and now as a vlog.
I'm Andrew Steele from Corvallis. I'm riding for my grandmother who's passed away from COPD last month.
So it means a little more when you're doing it for somebody?
Yeah, it means a lot more. I did it last year and it's nowhere near the same feeling. So.
Last year I was riding and I didn't meet, but I found out about Kelly Rom. I kept thinking about her, and so at the end I wrote a blog and she read it and she was really touched by that, and then a few months later she died. And then we found other people to ride for, to include in our team, which is Julia and then a woman named Barbara. And her husband gave me this to take down there, and it says, "Breathing in the moss and ferns, caress my lungs." And he put a little rock on here for her. So I interviewed her husband and she died, and all these people have lung cancer and did not smoke at all.
It just slows life down when you're out on the backcountry roads and gives you time to kind of ponder and think about life and take in the surroundings and the beauty of the area. When I'm thinking about going up these hills, and there's a real steep one at the very end, I think I'll be thinking of that is so little compared to the challenges that like Julia faces every day and her family. It's fun when you're riding and there's people, and it's fun to pass them, and just kind of, I don't know, it just kind of keeps you going when you see people ahead and you think, oh yeah, I could go, I can get past them.
So one of the cool things when you're going through those backlands, you're just all these farmers' fields and country land and clover and grass and meadow foam, and you're just cruising along and it's just quiet. It's just so beautiful. And then you also get to go through little towns like Sheridan and Amity and places where there's just people all around, and there's some people out there cheering for you sometimes, and it's just a really fun experience to be doing this.
Little did I expect that I would be meeting Julia just a little over a week ago, and for me, she put a face on this event. Julia found out about 2 months ago that she has lung cancer. It's just heart-wrenching, and when I realized here I am writing, a week and a half later, I'm writing for lung cancer, the very thing that she's fighting. It just changes everything for me. So Julia, thank you for sharing your story with me, and I take you with me today in my heart, allowing us to do that. It's a privilege.
What we offer is a source of news that can be trusted. It's in an era where everybody's trying to be the first to get the news out. We actually do some research and talk to the sources and get the story and all the details behind the story.
Welcome to another Matt Cook, Oregon video. Today we're exploring Thor's Well. Thor's Well is a natural saltwater fountain on the coast of Oregon. The viewing area is right off of Coastal Highway 101. It is on the doorstep to the Cape Perpetua Scenic Area, which offers tons of beaches, views, and trails. This area is part of the Siuslaw National Forest. Cape Perpetua was named by Captain James Cook in the late 1700s as he searched for the Pacific entrance to a northwest passage. Cook named the area Cape Perpetua because it was sighted on St. Perpetua Day. Thor's Well is best seen an hour before or an hour after high tide. There's no info out there on who named Thor's Well. We could only guess that someone heard the thunderous waves and thought that the well was carved out by Thor's hammer. Before going to the well, I decided to go up on the Oregon Coast Trail to get another view. Thor's Well is a very popular photography spot. I got a unique perspective from this trail. The well can be viewed from the parking area, or you can take a quick walk down to get up close. Once ready, you can begin the short trail from your car down to the well. Before reaching the well, you can see a Cook's Chasm viewpoint. Over a very long period of time, waves widened this fracture in the rocks, forming Cook's Chasm. The edge of the chasm was undercut, creating a cave. Eventually, the top of the cave collapsed, creating the spouting horn. After the trail and some staircases, you're down at the beach and you can pick your path to the well. Thousands of years, Native Americans hunted and fished for clams, mussels, crabs, and sea urchins along the coast around here. Evidence of this can still be found in the huge piles of discarded mussel shells that lie along the shore near the Cape Perpetua Visitor Center. Cape Perpetua was part of Alsea tribe territory. In their language, the cape was called Halcake, which means an opening. Formations like Thor's Well are geologically formed over long periods of time. They begin as a sea cave and eventually the top of the cave collapses, leaving an opening where the tide comes in from below and sends a powerful force of water shooting upward. Some have also called Thor's Well the gateway to hell. This hole is deceivingly deep at about 20 feet of jagged rock. Depending on the tide level, sometimes the well bubbles to the top, while other times it's bursting out in a violent spray. Thor's Well up close is actually extremely dangerous. People get excited to photograph it up close and forget that they could be pulled in at any time. High tide is the best time for photography here, but it's also the most dangerous. Thank you for exploring Thor's Well with me today. Let me know in the comments where in Oregon you would like to see next.
We kind of picked this place in the Whitaker because of all these doors. I like doors because they lead me into something else. It's like an entryway to the next step in my life or something. I was asking people online the other day, if you could rewind, pause, or fast forward your life, which would you do? And I was surprised by some of the answers. For me personally, I would never rewind because the mistakes, they made me who I am today. I don't want to go back. I wouldn't fast forward because at 58, I already feel like I'm going to lose something. I don't want to miss a thing. But sometimes I would pause just for a moment like this.